Hey guys, welcome back to Toya's Family Vlog. This is
Toya.
and I'm Jeanette, and we're back to talk to you guys about credit.
About credit. Credit is a very important topic. Very important topic. I touched a little on it on my last video, and I certainly wanted to do a sit down.
Yeah.
Just to go over a few questions that some of our younger viewers possibly may have. Also giving them some insight, information, and the importance of credit. So without further ado, if you have questions, I can answer. Let's get started.
So the first question I wanted to ask is, what is credit?
What is credit? So credit is your worthiness,
Right.
your ability. When I said the word worthy, it's the ability that you have in managing your finance, what companies are looking for in validating if you are a good consumer or just a consumer. So credit is, it is how you spend, it's how you budget, it is how you live. Credit is such a vast topic, but it deals with those three aspects.
Right.
It deals with how you're budgeting. Budgeting, it's the biggest concept of credit. What you're working, what you're bringing in, what you're spending tells your ability to save, to hold on to some of your money, and that you're not giving out, paycheck to paycheck each month. So what you can hold off, what you can save, tells the worthiness of how you can handle finance. So credit, it's your worthiness. How other lenders are looking at you when you apply for loans, for home, cars, apartments, any of those things, and all
Any
of those
like
things.
valuable assets.
Any assets, yes, those all based on credit and how a company find you to be worthy.
Okay. My next question is, why is credit important?
Why is credit important? Credit is important because, once again, as I earlier mentioned, it deals with your worthiness of paying back a loan. A home is a loan. A car, if you're not purchasing it 100% cash, it is a loan. Okay, so as I was saying, the importance of credit, why credit is important, it's if you're going to get a loan, whether it's, for a home loan, car, anything that you're doing, unless you're paying 100% cash for your purchase, you're asking the bank to loan you their money.
Right.
And with asking someone else for their money for your accommodation or your lifestyle or your luxury, they're going to put something that is called interest. And we'll talk about interest later on in this video. But they will add ties and string to you coming to borrow that money.
Right.
And it's a good thing to use money that is available that you can use to cover those purchases versus your money. That's also information that we're going to cover also and go into in depth.
Okay.
But credit worthiness, it's quite important. It's most important throughout your age. You're always going to use credit.
Right.
So it's quite important.
Okay, so my next question is, how do I know I have good credit?
How do you find out if you have good credit?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's always important. The base is you have to pull your credit report. There are 4 credit bureaus, but oftentimes people just relate to the 3 that are most common that everyone goes to. The 4 credit bureaus are
Innovis, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian.
all right. So those are the 4 credit bureaus. The three that are popular are those three.
Yeah, the Equifax, Experian, and
TransUnion.
Yeah.
And TransUnion. So what you would have to do, it's always good to start with your credit report. You want to know where you are.
Right.
Oftentimes, if you do not have any, you do not have a credit card, you do not have any loans in your name, then most times you're now establishing credit. You do not have existing, you have no credit. Your range for not having credit may fall somewhere within a 500 range. It's somewhat basic. All right?
Right.
That is something that you start with knowing, right? So you know that, okay, I have never applied for a credit card. I've never applied for a loan. I do not have credit. So you can call any of those credit bureaus and you can go ahead and pull your credit. They will mail it to you. Once a year, you get a free credit report. You can see where you are.
Right.
You're starting out not having credit. From there, you can simply apply for a credit card, whether it's a secure credit card or a non-secure credit card. And those are two different types of credit card a lot of financial institutes do offer. So what a secure card is, I'm just gonna kind of defer from your questions, but I'm gonna give a little bit more insight.
Okay.
So a secure credit card is simply your money. So you have a checking account, you have a savings account, or you just have a checking account which goes with a debit card.
Right.
Now you can put $500, $1,000, $2,000, $2,500, whatever's comfortable for you. You can go into your bank and say, if you guys are offering credit card and you'd like to apply for a secure card, that will help you to build your credit.
That goes along with my next question. Does having a credit card help build your credit?
It does. It does. Definitely it does. So let me go into a little bit more. So the secure card, it's basically your money and the bank is giving you credit off of your deposit. So it goes into what is called a CD. That's a certified deposit. So you are putting your money as a deposit and you're getting a card from the bank.
Right.
There's APR terms, which I touched on earlier in mentioning APR, but I will also explain a little later in the video what APR is. Just for now, keep in mind APR are annual percentage rate.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
That is telling you for the year, which is 12 months in a year, whatever that number is for your percentage that you're being, whatever rate you're being charged, you're going to divide that into 12. So it goes a little into some calculation there as well. So your percentage rate, that may vary.
Right.
Okay? So the first card was you applying for a secure credit card with your money. If you're applying for a non-secure card, you're applying to the bank, to a credit card company for a credit card. There are some companies that are really, really good at starter, your student about to go into college, young adult. There's a lot of companies that will offer you a credit card, right? And there's some companies that may say, you know, you're now establishing, you do not have any credit worthiness, and they're not willing to give you a break to build credit. And you may have to apply for somewhat of a, not the best card while you're first applying, might have a little janky APR, you know, the rates if you don't pay on time, information that it might be a little higher. So you might get a little, what I would call a little janky card to start. But that can also teach you money management. Unless, like in your case, you have a credit card through
Credit union?
Yes, but you have a credit card through
you.
Me. So when mom adds you to the credit card, it helps you to establish credit, right?
Yeah.
You have the same credit as mom, so you have good credit. And also that allows you to be able to, pretty soon with you working, you can then apply for your own card and then I can take you off of mine, but you're also applying where someone will see that you have established credit for a couple of years,
Right.
and you have a pretty good credit scores, which puts you in a pretty good rate that people are going to want to do business with you.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So it's a secure card versus a non-secure card. Different options of applying, but credit is important. So having a credit card, which you said was your next question, it's important because a credit card will help you to establish credit.
Right.
Not just having a credit card. Not just having a credit card, because we also have to talk about spending. We have to talk about spending. So you can have a credit card, you can have a limit, 500, 1,000, 2,005, 5,000, whatever the limit is. Mm-hmm. But the first thing I think I told you when I got the card for you was we have to do math. Remember that conversation?
Yeah.
We have to do math. So you have to tell me what is the percent, what is 30%, and I give you a number. Remember?
Yeah.
So that is what I said. That is what you have to make sure, that because your card says whatever X amount is, you're not spending that amount, right? You have to spend 30 or less, 30% or less on a monthly, okay?
Yeah.
Which allows you to establish good credit usage, also allows you to not only usage, but you have to pay. Mm-hmm. Never spend unless you have the cash to cover what you're spending, because that can take you down a rabbit hole that you don't want to go.
Right.
It's called bad credit. And that's a whole different conversation. So it is important. Credit is important. It's a good conversation to have with your young adults. It's a very good conversation, and also to have with your family, because they need to learn these tips and tricks about how to establish good credit.
Right.
And also, now, as I mentioned, you can apply for your credit as a young adult. You're getting off to college. You can simply apply for a credit. But in your case, you already have an established credit.
Right.
Okay, so you've already had a line of credit. So that gives you a little bit more of a worthiness along with a job. Creditors are seeing that, okay, you've had credit for a while. Your credit score, it's pretty good. And also you have a job. So now it's just for you to use those tools to practice making sure that you're not spending because you have the credit card, but that you're staying within that 30% or lower. Right. And if for some reason, let's say you shop a little bit more and you have gone over that amount, as soon as that charge hits your card, 3 to 4 days, pay it down. You have to pay down. If you pay down, by the time the credit gets reported to the credit bureau and you've paid it down and you've brought it down under 30%, then guess what? It reflects that you have done pretty good for that month. Okay. And that is what determines your credit score.
Right.
All right. Yeah. So it varies. As I said, pull your credit so you know where your credit lies, and you can always fix what you know. All right. And the credit bureaus are giving you a yearly credit, a free credit report. Okay. So you don't have to pay for it. You can know where your numbers are and then how to bill it. So yes, having a credit card helps to bill your credit, and proper usage of the credit card gives a company the idea that you have a pretty good balance of credit worthiness. Right. And they're also, another thing, you can always increase your credit limit every 180 days. Well, that's 6 months for you. So each 6 months, you can ask the bank, once you're using your card and you're making your payments, you can ask the bank for an increase. And based on the information, good credit usage, paying up the card, the bank will increase that, and that amount can go up. Right. You can start off with a credit card at $2,500. $500 might be the lowest, but $2,000, $2,500, and that can max all the way up to $35,000. Right? And a lot of companies would be very, happy and want to do business with you,
Right.
and giving you those cards.
Okay, so my next question is, what is a big impact on your credit?
Good question. What's a big impact on your credit? By the way, what do you think is a big impact on your credit?
I feel like overly spending,
Yeah.
where you're not like able to pay it back. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So remember, I told you about spending. Don't spend unless you have the cash money
To pay for
to
it.
pay for it.
Right.
So the biggest impact on your credit is overly spending. If you're spending more than that 30% and you're not using the information in as soon as that charge goes through from pending to posted,
Right.
if you're not paying off that difference, when that information gets read at the end of each month and it's reported to the credit bureau, then it looks like you're spending too much on the credit card.
Right.
And you cannot afford to spend too much, because that is going to give a distastefulness to creditors.
Right.
You're spending 45, 50, 60% on your credit card. It's almost as though you're living above your means. Your paycheck is not sufficient, and now you're living off of the credit card. That is not a good look at all. So it is very important to, given that sometimes, yes, sometimes you may go over. You may go over that 30%, but just make sure to pay it off before it gets read by the credit bureau.
Okay.
And dates are very important. It's either you put your credit card payments on auto, meaning set up automatic payment through your bank account, that your payments are going like clockwork, whether it falls on Sunday, that it is getting paid. If that is not happening, then you may fall short.
Right.
And if dates are something that you're not very much good on keeping dates, and you're like, oh, my bill is not due until next month, and next month comes and it's not paid, then that will be a negative impact.
Right.
So you have to make sure, do not go over that 30% if you're establishing credit. If you're trying to get towards having a home, having a car, buying expensive items, just make sure you are watching your money. Save your cash money. As you work, you have your money deposit. Save your cash money, but make sure you're spending a credit card, because one of the benefits from mainly every credit card companies is that you're getting cash back.
Right.
You're getting points. They're called reward points. You're getting cash back. So you're spending off of your credit card, and it is giving you a percentage back of your own money. Well, of their money, which becomes your money.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting a percentage. Credit cards are offering 1.5, 2.5, 2%. There's lots of good cards out there, and they are offering great cash back rewards. Points that are converted over to dollars, and those can be redeemed. You can put those towards paying your bill. You can, once you pay your bill on time, if it's on auto pay, those points accumulate, and you can eventually take those points and put them towards your checking account. It's like just stacking up dollars, little money. It's not, a lot, but each penny of it accumulates.
Okay.
And if you're redeeming them on the end of the year, then you're getting a couple of hundreds of dollars, depends on how you're spending on the card.
Right.
So you're using the card, and companies are actually giving you money, cash back money, for using their card. So that's a pretty good. If you use your debit card, you're not getting anything back. It's just your money that you're swiping, and it's minusing.
Right.
But you're using the credit card, and you're getting some points. So it's kind of a little fun to shop with the company's card. So, other questions?
My next question is, does late payments affect your credit?
That's a very good question. Late payment It's not something that you should do.
Right.
And that is why auto pay is set up for late pay. Now, auto pay means automatic payment.
Right.
If you have a bill, you have a credit card, you have your mortgage, you have your auto loan, anything that you have that is a major bill that is important. I'm not talking about your light and water and gas. Like, I'm sure everyone knows at the end of the month, you have to pay those utility bills. But your major bills, you might want to put those on your account as
Right.
recurring.
Right.
Because each month they're coming around and you don't want to miss those payments. They're very important. So yes, late payment does affect. Is that a word?
Yeah.
It does affect your it does affect your credit worthiness. You cannot use money, you cannot be so carefree to shop and don't remember to pay.
Right.
It is no one else's fault because you're late. It is no one else's fault because you miss a payment. It is your credit score that is going to feel the squeeze.
Right.
And in the end, you will also feel that squeeze because companies are going to look at you and they're going to say, you're not so good on date. You're a liability.
Right.
And you don't want to be a liability. It's not a good look. So you definitely want to be an asset to any company. We discussed the 3 credit bureaus, which are the main ones that everyone are familiar with. We mentioned the 4th one. Do you remember what the name was?
And those.
You can look that one up. We have gone over all 3. We have gone over, what are the 3 that are the typical ones?
We have Experian, Equifax, TransUnion,
And TransUnion. So those are the 3 that everyone is quite familiar with.
Right.
The 4th one is Enovis. So Enovis deals a lot with your employment history information.
Right.
It deals with it's good to have a job and to keep a job.
Okay.
And even if there's an issue with a job where you have to leave that job and you're not going to be working there anymore, make sure to find another job
in the process.
Like,
right.
Don't just leave a job and then you're out of work 2, 3, 4 months. Right. It doesn't look good. It's also an impact
on the credit.
It shows up. It definitely shows up. So you want to simply make sure that before you leave a job, whether you're upset with your manager, you're having issues at work, you just don't want to be in that place anymore, just make sure you have something in place for the next step in your life, because you don't want to have employment gaps.
Right.
Creditors are looking at that. Everything that you do is being monitored in terms of your credit, in terms of your worthiness. So those are scores and numbers that are very important to keep, making sure that you are working and making sure that you're managing your money, well. Yeah. And also your credit card. And also, just a little bonus question here. Do you think it hurts if you have 1 or 5 credit cards? Multiple? Just say a number.
I feel like it's an accomplishment to have more credit cards because, like, you're able to pay, as long as you're able to pay them on time, you're not left with debt, then
yeah,
you're fine.
It is. It's a pretty good thing because having multiple cards, multiple range of what you can spend, it's always a good thing that you can somewhat rotate. Yeah. And you're not just putting everything on one card. So you're kind of rotating, but the most important thing that I want you to remember, do not spend if you do not have it.
Right.
Make sure your debit card is equipped to cover your spending. So if you decide that you're going to go out to eat, make sure you have it in your checking account that you can cover that bill. Yeah. If you're going to go out with friends and you're going to the mall, make sure you have cash that you can cover.
Right.
All right? Because you're using the card for the perks. You're using the card for the perks of getting cash back. which are points, which do equivalent to cash back, but you're also making sure that you are paying your bill on
Time. Yeah.
So I think that concludes our little chat about questions that you may have.
Yeah. Credits.
Also, parents with fair to good credit. You can help your children to establish credit by adding your children to your credit card as authorized users. So you're an authorized user on my card.
Right, yeah.
And you're a young adult. And Yada, my youngest, who is 6 years old, she's also an authorized user on my credit card account.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work? You simply call your bank and make sure you do not have a maxed out card, you do not have bad debt, you're not in debt when you're adding your children, because it's going to hinder their creditworthiness.
Right.
So you can call your bank and whomever you have a credit line with, and you can say, I would like to add an authorized user to my credit card. And the only information that they will need is your social security number, your name, and the address to send the card to.
Right.
So that's all the information. They do not ask for date of birth. They do not care. They need a credit report. They need the social security number so that they can report it to the credit agency, which is going to impact their credit. So whatever my credit is, that's what your credit is, because based on my worthiness of having good credit is what established you to come up to having that level of credit.
All right.
And also when your kids are adult, you can simply get a card for them, even if they're not using you don't have to give them the card, but you can help them. It's a tip where you can help them just to bring their credit up. Maybe they're looking into getting a home or something else. It's a way that you can help your family. All right. You can help your children to establish credit. Mm-hmm. So yes, you simply have to call your bank and you let them know, I would like to add my child as an authorized user.
Yeah.
They will ask you for your child's full name and your child's social security number. And also, is your child a citizen? Those are some of the questions. And from there, the bank will process a card 2 to 3 business days, or 7 to 10 days, whatever it may be. And your child would have a credit card, whether it's a 6-year-old that is too young to spend that credit card, you will simply have it, because for that child's life, that child is establishing credit based on the parents.
Right.
And a lot of parents think that they do not have to add their children until they're 18 years old and getting ready to leave or going off to college. And that's not the case. You can add a young child to a credit card as soon as you can add a 1-year-old to your credit card parents. Mm-hmm. So it will help them. I mean, by the time they're 18, with the parents being very good stewards of using the card, that will help the child to establish good credit.
All right.
So my 6-year-old and all of my other kids, they certainly are listed where they're users on my credit card, and they have pretty good credit. Mm-hmm. Way to go, Mom. All right, I think that concludes our video tonight. Hopefully it was not too long, but I hope it was very informative. Please don't forget, hit the notification bell, like, share, and subscribe. And you may have to play this video a couple of times just to get a few pointer and tips, because I think it was a pretty good sit down that we were having.
Right.
Thank you so much for asking me those questions.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, with that, we will say thank you for tuning in to Toya's Family. I am Toya, and here's my baby.
Good night.
Good night.